Hello everybody, this is the Stormy Poet joining you tonight. It's nighttime on my end, but whatever period of the day it is on your end, happy day, happy night, happy evening to you. Just wanted to come to you today and present the Levels of Love tips. This is my, fifth episode, and I love doing it. I love just kind of disseminating information and giving whatever kind of knowledge I can give to the masses about relationships, because you're not really hearing it or what you need to hear, rather than a lot of different outlets. So I'm going to try to talk about what most people are not talking about, what most of the people that we see and hear, what a lot of them are not talking about, even so-called relationship guidance advocates, if you will. So anyway, I hope you're doing well this evening. I hope all is well in your world. I hope that you are well mentally and physically. And I wish the same for your family. And I just wanted to kind of borrow everybody's ears for a quick minute to kind of really touch on something I've been thinking about lately. Of course, most of my podcasts are just kind of something I was thinking about when I was, walking somewhere or whatever, that I feel like a lot of people don't really have a lot of information about. And what I wanted to talk about today on this edition of the Levels of Love tips is something I just feel a lot of people aren't really aware of in regards to who they select to essentially spend the rest of their life with. Who they select as a partner, who they select as their romance partner, and something that really doesn't get factored into the equation when we start deciding who we're going to pick to date or potentially marry. In my book, A Pale Face for a Collar, Testimony as an Office Rat, I wrote about this in the poem, or no, it wasn't a poem, it was an essay actually called What Sexy Really Means. Which is actually an essay from the main character who's talking about what, and I've done podcasts over this. What do we really define as sexy, and why is it sexy, right? And in the essay, the gentleman was basically, the main character was kind of just rattling off some feelings he had about, what people found about sex, what people call sexy, and how did it get that way, really. So in the essay, he's kind of just questioning this, and he's saying, well, why aren't these attributes considered attractive in a man? As far as, being a leader, being somebody who is emotionally literate. Excuse me, my goodness. Jeez Louise. Being somebody who's emotionally literate, and being somebody who's charitable, things like that constitute to being a real man, essentially. I think that ties into manhood, and I think that's what is needed for a man to classify himself as a real man. But anyways, one of the things he mentioned is, okay, why is it not considered attractive for you, for someone to push you? And I see a lot of relationships, whether they be people I know or just people I've, have some kind of connection with. I see a lot of relationships where, in situations where there's the person's, they're not the two individuals in the relationship are not really challenging each other. Now, what does challenging each other mean? To me, and to go back to the experiences I've had in relationships, challenging each other is important, because I think one of the hallmark attributes of love is that you have the other person's best interest in mind. I mean, that's kind of an elementary rule there, but I think it's one that a lot of people don't know. I think that a lot of people don't understand that when you go into a relationship, one of the goals is to have that other person's best interest in mind, whether it makes you feel good or not. And the thing I'm seeing with a lot of couples nowadays is that a lot of people are just settling. a lot of people are just settling just to say that they have somebody, just so that they're not lonely during the holidays, which are kind of coming up, and when it's cold outside and all that jazz. And a lot of people just kind of, they don't really want to, especially men are especially guilty of this, I would have to say, because women will kind of check you on some things and be like, you're not really handling your business in this department. But, that's not all the time. But a lot of men I've noticed and interacted with who are in relationships, I noticed that they kind of don't check their woman on a lot of stuff. And I don't mean be disrespectful or try to be overbearing. I just mean a lot of unhealthy behavior. They just chalk it up to, well, that's just the way she is. And that's just the way marriage works. And that's just the way things are. And it's just like, well, things are the way that they are because people don't check certain things in their mate. And that's a problem. The reason that's a problem is because if you're too afraid to check your mate on, toxic behavior, whether it be that they don't take care of themselves health-wise, mentally, whether they're negative, whether they're narcissistic, whether they are just not applying themselves in lives, then that constitutes to you not truly loving them, right? Because if we go back to what I said earlier, true love means challenging your mate and wanting the best for them, seeing what's in their best interest, essentially. So if you're not doing that, then that means you don't really love them. You just are telling them what they want to hear, or just kind of putting up with crap and settling. Number one, just to say you got somebody and so that you don't piss them off. But then number two, because you don't really love them. You just kind of, you want them for what they can give you, and then you don't really, and I would say you don't even love yourself, because if you're not pushing your mate to be the best person that they can be, that in turn isn't a reflection of you, and that's going to affect you negatively in the long run. So let's say, like me, for instance, I would never date anybody that smokes cigarettes. And there was a lovely woman I was dating a couple of years ago, well, about almost 5 years ago, not a couple. And I told her, I'm like, hey man, I'm not cool with that cigarette shit. I'm not cool with it. It's yes, I understand devices. I mean, I'm a caffeine coffeeholic. I mean, I can't even deny that. Okay, I get it. But I said, this is, downright bad for your health and detrimental to your health. This is a waste of money. And if we get married, I'm going to have to deal with all those diseases and all that stuff. You are too, of course. This is in your best interest. But then at the same time, I love myself. And I don't want to put myself through all the potential diseases that you could potentially get from smoking cigarettes, which are abundant. I was in the dentist a couple of months back getting some teeth checked out. And in the booth next to me, or the whatever you want to call it next to me, the dentist was telling this dude, hey man, I can tell by your gums that you smoke. Your gums don't look healthy. He said, I know it's hard to quit, but you need to quit. And so I basically had an ultimatum. I said, hey, you need to quit that or I can't be with you. And she was just like, kind of just nonchalant about it. No, I will someday, but you got to be supportive of me. I'm like, no, I need you to do that now. Because you're right now hurting your health, and I don't want to stick around for that. I don't want to be a part of that, right? So that was me challenging her. That was me doing it in a loving way. I wasn't, disrespectful or anything like that, but I said, hey man, I don't want to see you go through what you could potentially go through. And so I got to check you on that. And a lot of couples these days, because, people are so scared to tick the other person off. You would be surprised when you challenge and check people. You would be surprised how positively they might respond to it. Now, we ended up breaking up. I broke up with her because I let her know, hey, that's how I feel, and she did not quit smoking. And I said, hey, I charged that to the game. I wasn't disrespectful about it, but I said that this was an issue for me, and I addressed it to you. You did not comply, and so therefore I'm moving on. As you should. You go get with the guy that's cool with you smoking and ruining your health. He's probably one of these people that is not going to challenge you, and therefore he really, truly, at the core of things, does not love you and care about you genuinely as a human being. And I'm not one of them, right? So me personally, I mean, I believe in challenging the person I'm with, and if you're the type of person that doesn't want to be challenged, then I would rather be alone, honestly. I think the reason why, men and women, we can constitute that back to misogyny, but I think the responsibility of challenging our mates lies on both men and women, and I think we've kind of dropped the ball on that. We really haven't stepped up to the plate, and I think if more people were willing to challenge their mate, they would be surprised at not only how they would respond, but how much more we need of this in order to kind of improve the overall relations between men and women. Right? It's almost kind of like it's up to us. It's the responsibility of men and women to change the culture and the dynamics between men and women. And one of the best ways to do that is to challenge each other. Right? So you got a lot of people just with other people, and they're just scared to kind of tick them off or piss them off and rub them the wrong way. And so you have a lot of people just settling when they could be pushing that person to be better, and it could be a better person for them, right? So in a couple of future podcasts, I want to kind of start discussing some ways in which you can challenge your mate as far as their health, pushing them to become more emotionally literate, pushing them to, if they have a talent or a particular set of skills, pushing them to pursue that talent and to enhance that talent, and supporting them when they need the time to actually cultivate that. And just a number of other things. Just pushing each other to be better. We need more of that. We need to stop this whole let's bash men because they're responsible for all the relationship woes that take place, and let's bash women, vice versa. We have to start coming together and saying, okay, if you really deserve me, as your mate, you have to be willing to accept me challenging you. And me challenging you is not a bad thing, nor is it indicative that you're less of a person or that you are less of a grown-up. We all need to be challenged. We cannot achieve our full potential without being challenged by others, whether that be, any kind of relationship we have. But what more of an intimate way to challenge somebody than to be in a relationship with them? Most definitely. So I definitely look forward to breaking that down a little bit more. But that's been tonight's episode. I'm not going to keep everybody too long. I know everybody is busy and has things to do, but that was on my mind. I just kind of wanted to get that out. In any case, if you want to support me, if you want to support any of my initiatives, please go to rootofalllove.com or thestormypoet.com. Feel free to get on my subscription service, which I've just put up. I give away all my stuff completely 100% free. I don't charge anything for it, and I just genuinely ask the public, can you help me out? I want to keep this going. I want to do this full time. I want to inform the public full time. I have a $2 subscription option, and I have a $5 subscription option, which is less than a cup of coffee every month. So I appreciate any you can give. And I have a one-time contribution option as well on my websites. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to hit me up. I'm at T.S.P at thestormypoet.com. I hope today I was able to give you some information to help better your relationships. And I look forward to speaking with you all in the near future. That's been tonight's The Levels of Love tips. Have a great night. Have a positive week wherever you are, and I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for your time. Peace.